Hello, and once again, welcome to the second part of our Angular material with Java and MongoDB step-by-step tutorials. In this section, we're going to be talking about installing Angular material design components into the application, including Angular material design icons. So we're just basically going to go to this page, which is the Angular material design guides. And in this, we're going to run several commands and that would get installed. And then we're going to use these icons over here. So again, this is step 2 of our tutorials. And this step, install Angular. Next step is going to be generating the components. So let's get started in this section where we're going to basically run commands where npm install. And then we're going to add the material design. Then we're going to generate a module that's going to hold our Angular material modules. And then finally, we're going to do MatToolbar just to display to make sure that it's installed correctly. One other thing we have to do in our style sheets, the CSS file, we have to run this command. So I'll show you how to do that. So let's get started with the second part of our tutorial. And if you like this tutorial, please remember to click on the subscribe button, so you can get news on the upcoming tutorials. Thank you, and let's get started. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to get started with the project. Right now, we have the project running. We have our user application running over here on port 4200. Again, I'm gonna bring up using the key F12. I'm gonna bring up my developer tools for Chrome, and in here, what we're gonna try to do now as the next step is, first of all, to install our Angular material. We're going to install Angular material in our application. So basically what that involves is we're going to have a material file in here, a TypeScript file where we're going to put in all our material modules. We're going to import our material modules in one place. So to get started, let's first just go and do a search for. We're going to do a search for Angular material online. And you're going to see that the first website I'm going to go this is components. I'm going to go to getting started. Okay, getting started. Step number 1, we have to run this install command. So I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to bring it to my IDE. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say terminal, open a new terminal so that we can leave the other terminal running there. So now we have a PowerShell terminal number 2. We're going to run that command. So what this does is just basically installs your material and your Angular animations too at the same time. Angular material. Our next step is going to be like to start building the pages. So this comes up. The next step after that is done. It looks like step number 2 will be now to do this command add. So what this does is that it takes the Angular material that we just installed and puts it into our user Angular material application. So that's done. I'm going to run the second command, ng add. So what it does is actually it goes in and like it'll, among other things, over here on the main TS, it's going to put in our, and I'll show you what the difference is between that and this time. And so first thing I'm going to say here is that, okay, fine. So again, I go with the defaults. I'm just going to enter and it will give us a theme because Angular material comes in with themes. So default themes. I'm going to go with the indigo pink theme. So enter, and then over here it'll ask me, do you want to set up Hammer.js? And that's, I'm going to show you where Hammer.js is. I'm going to say yes. Why? And then enter. Okay, set up browser animations. I'm going to say yes. Why? Enter. Okay, so as you can see, it's updating package.json. As I told you, one of those few times when you have to modify any of the files is like when you're doing installing the animation. So right now you see it's modifying the JSON file, and then it's going to add Hammer.js because I said that I want Hammer.js. It's going to add it to our, and I'll show you once it does it. our main.ts file, you're going to see how much JS is going to be installed in there. So before, with older Angular versions, you had to do all this yourself. Now they have this beautiful command where you can say just npm add this to that. And as you can see now, in their under main.ts, they've added hammer.js. That wasn't there the first time when I looked. So that's how that is. So we're going to go to the next step. Next step is now we need Noop. We don't need to do this step. Now we start. We're going to have a Angular material TypeScript file. We're just going to do ng generate module, and I'm going to call it, because this one says app routing module, I'm just going to call this app material. Okay, and I'm going to issue this command saying flat. That means it's just going to go to the same file, and it's not going to have all those other files. There's a lot of files that Angular installs for you, and for this tutorial we're not going to need them. Normally you just say up to there, that command would work, but I'm going to add these two, and I advise you to add them when you're developing. It shortens, it makes less files in your folder, which is good for you. Less confusing, especially for the other developers. What I'm saying is that I want that material to be added to my app over here. So I'm going to say flat and that, and watch what happens. So right now it's going to create a file in here called app material, just kind of like the way this app routing is. So you see, so my app material module comes up here. Now I don't need common module, so I'm going to get rid of that. And over here, I'm going to add another section called exports. And it's another array. Okay. So let's start working on this. So the first thing we need to do, first things first, is just to say, and I learned this from another tutorial. I'm just going to say import star s material, okay, from Angular material, like that. That's what I'm going to say. Angular, yeah. So it accepted it. So now in here, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to have a toolbar, which I'm going to show you. So now to start importing the modules, you just do something like import material MatToolbar module. Make sure you install a module, because if you don't do that, it's going to complain about it. So over here, I'm just going to do whatever you import, make sure to export in this file. So I'll do that and save. Just see if the application recompiles without a problem. This is where I check again on this section of my browser developer tools. As you can see, it's updating, recompiling. If you see any errors over here, you need to fix them. If there's no errors, like you can see everything, there's no red, then, or yellow, you don't need to worry about warnings or errors. So as you can see, the application recompile, so that means that. But you can see now it's telling me could not find Angular material core theme. This is yellow. This is a warning, not so bad. So it doesn't know where the theme is. So what that means is if we go now to install in the next step, including a theme, this is what it's complaining about. So I'm going to copy this just the way it is, and I'll come over to my CSS file over here, style.css, and I'm going to put that in here as the first thing. So I'll do a save. Okay, it's going to recompile again now. And let's see, that warning should be gone when it comes up. So as you can see, that's gone. So the application is running without any errors so far. So that's good. So let's go to the next step of installing. Gestures, it's going to tell you about, hammer.js. But since we ran this command over here, which says add, it already added hammer.js. So I don't have to worry about the next step, which would have been this. Okay. If we have any problems, we'll know and then we'll fix it. But right now, it seems like that's done. So I think Angular Material needs to remove this step from there, but they haven't done that. Okay, so now we want to use icons, and I'll show you what icons are. These are the icons we're talking about. Angular Material icons, and they look like this. So they look like this, and I love these icons, and we're going to be using them a lot, and I'll show you how to do it. So in order to have them work, you need to copy this, okay, and come back to your index file, which is right there, and you're going to add that there, kind of like that. You save that, go back to your application, make sure that it compiles, and everything looks fine. There's no errors or warnings. Okay, so let's go to the next step. Now, configuring system.js, we don't need to do that for our case because everything is done. So we're done installing Angular Material. How do you test to see if you have Angular Material? Okay, we added one component here in our material file called, what did we call it? We call it Toolbar. So let's test that. So I'm just going to come over here and, so inside here, I'm just going to do, to test it, I'm going to do MatToolbar. So you do like that, and you do a save. Now let's see what happens. If it breaks, then we got a problem. Otherwise, we're good. So as you can see, it added a toolbar over here. And in this toolbar, I'm going to say, just to show you, I'm going to say color is equals to primary. And I'm going to say user app. Okay, I'll come back in here. And that's how easy it is to add a component. So this component is a toolbar that stretches all the way. So there, we've tested, we've added our Angular Material now to our application.
So to recap our step 2 of the tutorial, we were able to add our Angular Material design to our user Angular application. And we tested it by bringing up one of the components, which is the toolbar. So all we did is go to the Angular Material Guide section. We ran all these commands, and then we also added icons. And so the way we did it is like to add the icons. Basically, we have to run this link. We add it to the index file, and then we have to import the theme into our CSS file, and so that gave us our Angular Material application. It made our application have Angular Material basically. So we're done with step number 2, which is installing Angular Material icons. Next step is going to be generating the components and services and guards and utilities. Now just start building our user application specifically. Again, if you liked this tutorial, please subscribe so you can find out about upcoming tutorials. And thank you very much.